Alright, guys. Since I got nothing else to do with my life, um, we'll be watching Analog Horror because I haven't really posted anything on YouTube in a little bit, and I think this is gonna be the first time I actually posted in a very long ass time. Um, or did anything live. So, at this point, it's I got nothing else to really do except sit here and watch Analog Horror. If you like Analog Horror, say so, so I can, you know, do more. Okay. I got really nothing else to lose.
This message is issued by the Emergency Coordination Center. Please listen closely and follow the instructions that follow. This is not a drill. If your dog has been exhibiting unusual nighttime barking behavior, particularly in wooded or rural areas, you need to take immediate action. Over the past 3 weeks,
Dog? I gotta go check on my dog right quick. Be right back, guys.
we have
Okay.
received dozens of reports from residents living in forested regions across the county describing a disturbing pattern of animal behavior. What began as routine calls about noise complaints has evolved into something far more serious. The reports share common elements that have prompted this emergency advisory. It started on the evening of June 8th when dispatch received the first call from a resident on Timber Ridge Road. The caller, a retired carpenter named Marcus Chen, reported that his German Shepherd had been barking incessantly every night at exactly 11:47 p.m. Marcus had owned the dog, Rex, for 6 years and described their bond as extraordinary. Rex slept at the foot of his bed, accompanied him on morning walks, and had never shown signs of anxiety or unusual behavior. But something had changed. For 14 consecutive nights, Rex would position himself at the back door and bark toward the tree line behind their cabin. Marcus said the barking wasn't aggressive or territorial like when strangers approached. It was different, protective, almost pleading. Rex would look back at Marcus between barks, as if trying to communicate something urgent. When Marcus would join him at the door and shine a flashlight into the woods, he saw nothing. Just pine trees swaying in the darkness. But Rex would continue barking until Marcus physically led him away from the door. Similar reports flooded our lines throughout that week. A widow in Pine Hollow described her golden retriever pacing the perimeter of her property each night, whimpering and
Your Honor.
scratching at the
No.
doors. The dog would only calm down when she brought him inside and closed all the curtains. A young couple near Maple Creek reported their normally quiet beagle howling mournfully toward the forest, behavior that began the same night as Marcus's experience on Timber Ridge. The pattern was consistent across all reports. Dogs with previously normal behavior suddenly becoming hyper-alert during specific nighttime hours. All the affected properties bordered dense woodland. All the dogs focused their attention on the tree line, not the road or neighboring
Burn it.
homes. And in every case, the owners described their pets as trying to position themselves.
Stop taking
Oh
meeting
my
notes
god, these
and let
fucking
ClickUp AI Note
ads.
Taker do it for you. It allows you to focus on your meetings, not your notes. It captures
Hold up.
everything from
Between their family and whatever they sensed in the darkness. On June 22nd, something changed. Marcus called dispatch at 2:17 a.m., his voice shaking. He said Rex had been barking as usual when they both heard it. A sound from the woods.
I think the
Not an
ads are like the
animal
scariest
sound,
thing.
Marcus insisted, but something else. A low, rhythmic tapping, like someone knocking on wood with their knuckles. Rex's barking became frantic, almost hysterical. Then, abruptly, the dog fell silent. Marcus heard a single, soft whimper,
Fucking
and
heartbeats
then
are
nothing.
fucking like scary.
When he looked outside,
Like it makes me
Rex
more
was sitting
unsettled.
perfectly still, staring into the trees. The dog's ears were flattened against his head, and Marcus said he'd never seen Rex look so afraid. The tapping sound had stopped, but Marcus felt like something was watching them from the darkness. He stayed awake until dawn, with Rex pressed against his legs, both of them listening to the silence. The next night, Rex didn't bark at all.
Fucking
For
heartbeat,
the first
dude.
time in over 2
It's
weeks,
crazy.
11:47 p.m. came and went without incident. Marcus felt relieved. thinking whatever had been disturbing his dog had finally moved on. But his relief was short-lived. 3 days later, Marcus called us again. This time, Rex was barking inside the cabin. Not at the door or windows, but at the walls themselves. The dog would stand in the center of the living
In the
room and
walls,
bark at the
bro.
wooden walls,
He's in the
moving
walls.
from spot to spot as if tracking something moving around the perimeter of the house. Marcus said it felt like something was circling his home, staying just out of sight but close enough that Rex could sense its presence. Other residents reported similar changes in their dog's behavior. The nighttime barking had stopped, but now their pets were agitated during daylight hours, refusing to go outside and cowering when their owners approached windows. Several people mentioned feeling watched while doing routine outdoor activities like checking the mail or bringing in groceries. On June 28th, Marcus had his encounter. He was splitting wood behind his cabin around 3 p.m. when Rex began barking from inside the house. Through the window, Marcus could see his dog pawing frantically at the back door. That's when he noticed the shadow. At the edge of the tree line stood a
Oh,
figure
hell no.
unlike anything Marcus had ever seen. Impossibly tall, maybe 8 or 9 feet, with limbs that seemed too long for its frame. The figure was perfectly still, just watching him. Marcus described feeling an overwhelming sense of wrongness, as if his mind couldn't fully process what he was looking at. The figure's proportions were human, but stretched, distorted in a way that made Marcus's vision blur when he tried to focus on details. Marcus dropped his axe and backed toward the house, never taking his eyes off the figure. He said the thing's head tracked his movement with an unnatural smoothness, like it was floating rather than attached to a neck. When Marcus reached for the door handle, he heard Rex barking turn to whimpering. The dog was pressed against the inside of the door, trembling. As Marcus fumbled with the lock, he heard footsteps. Not the crack of twigs
Yeah,
or
that looks
rustle
so
of
scary
leaves
as
you'd
hell to me.
expect from someone walking through the forest, but a soft, deliberate padding, like bare feet on moss. The sound was getting closer. Marcus finally got the door open and stumbled inside, immediately deadbolting it behind him. When he looked out the window, the figure was gone. That evening, Marcus discovered that Rex was different. The dog no longer came when called. He wouldn't eat his regular food and refused to sleep in the bedroom. Instead, Rex positioned himself by the front door and stayed there, alert and motionless. When Marcus tried to pet him, Rex flinched away. It was as if something had been taken from the dog, some essential part of his personality
Any
erased.
horror games y'all would
Marcus
like
isn't the
to
only one who's
give me so I
encountered
can
this
play
figure.
instead of watching
Local
videos?
authorities have received 17 similar reports over the past month, all describing the same impossibly tall presence lurking at the edges of wooded properties. Some witnesses describe it as native to the area, something that's always been in these forests. Others tell more disturbing stories. A hunting party from the reservation 20 miles north reported seeing tracks near their camp 3 years ago. Footprints that were human-shaped but nearly 2 feet long, pressed deep into the mud as if made by something incredibly heavy.
Fucking
The
heartbeats, dude.
tribal elders they consulted spoke of old warnings about things that walk between the trees, entities that take pieces of what they encounter. They said dogs
What is
could
this?
sense these beings long before humans ever could, and that a dog's
My
protection
dog starts
should never be
barking at
ignored.
me. I lock the door.
We've also
My dog
received
does that
reports of
sometimes.
missing items from
My dogs
properties
will
where
like randomly
encounters have
bark at the
occurred.
door for some reason.
Not valuable objects, but personal things. A child's favorite toy. A wedding ring left on a nightstand. A photograph from a mantelpiece. The items disappear without any sign of forced entry, as if they simply vanish from existence. Witnesses describe these disappearances happening in the
Just like my dad.
days following their encounters with the tall figure. What concerns us most is the pattern we're seeing in the affected animals. Dogs that once provided comfort and companionship to their families are becoming withdrawn and fearful. Some refuse to enter certain rooms of their homes. Others won't go outside at all, even during daylight hours. Veterinary examinations reveal no physical ailments, but the behavioral changes appear to be permanent. Based on our investigation, we've identified 3 distinct stages in these encounters. recognition. Your dog begins exhibiting protective behavior, typically during late evening hours. The animal focuses on wooded areas and appears to be tracking something you cannot see. This
See, that's when you
stage
just
can
grab
last
the
for days or
357
weeks,
Magnum
with the
and
behavior
just...
occurring at consistent times.
This Thanksgiving,
Don't do that. It's not quite done.
no, it's not quite done. Fire up the
Jesus
turkey.
Christ. I hate these ads. I hate these ads so much.
Stage 2 is contact. Something acknowledges your dog's awareness. You may hear unusual sounds from the forest, experience electronic interference with phones or radios, or notice changes in your pet's behavior patterns. The dog's protective instincts intensify, and they may attempt to prevent you from going outside or approaching windows. Stage 3 is aftermath. Following direct visual contact with the entity, both you and your pet are permanently changed. Dogs lose aspects of their personality and become withdrawn from their families. Witnesses report ongoing feelings of being observed and experience the disappearance of personal items from their homes. If you are currently experiencing Stage 1 behavior from your dog, take these precautions immediately. Do
Okay.
not ignore your pet's warnings. When your dog exhibits protective behavior toward wooded areas, bring them inside and secure all entry points to your home. Close curtains and blinds to prevent outside observation. Do not attempt to investigate what your dog is alerting you to, especially during nighttime hours. If you hear unusual sounds from the forest, such as
Creepy,
rhythmic
man.
tapping or
Creepy.
unnatural movement, do not investigate. These sounds appear to be attempts at communication or luring behavior. Remain indoors with your pet until daylight. Several witnesses who investigated these sounds reported immediate escalation to Stage 2 encounters. Never leave your dog outside overnight if they are exhibiting these warning behaviors. The animal's protective instincts are specifically focused on keeping your family safe, and separating them from you during these episodes appears to intensify the entity's interest in your property. If you have reached Stage 2 and are experiencing daylight intrusions or direct sightings, contact law enforcement immediately. Do not attempt to approach or communicate with the entity. Witnesses who have tried to interact with the figure report severe psychological after effects and accelerated progression to Stage 3 conditions. We want to emphasize that this phenomenon appears to be spreading throughout our county's forested regions. What began as
Yeah, I see
isolated
that. I'm
incidents in
moving.
remote areas is now being reported in suburban neighborhoods that border woodland. The entity shows particular interest in properties where families have strong bonds with their pets, suggesting it may be drawn to emotional connections between humans and animals.
At this point, we'll just
Multiple
move out.
search teams have attempted to track this entity through the forests, but these efforts have been unsuccessful. The being appears to move through terrain without leaving consistent tracks and seems capable of avoiding detection by conventional means. However, it cannot hide from the natural instincts of domestic animals, which is why your dog's warnings are crucial to your family's safety. 3 families have already experienced the full progression of these encounters, and all report permanent changes to their lives. The dogs involved no longer provide the same companionship and protection they once offered their families. More concerning, each family has lost personal items that held significant emotional value, objects that cannot be replaced and whose absence creates ongoing distress. We are working with tribal consultants and wildlife experts to better understand this phenomenon, but our primary concern is preventing additional encounters. The pattern suggests that early intervention during Stage 1 can break the cycle of escalation. Your dog's protective behavior is not random anxiety or territorial display. It is a warning system that has evolved over thousands of years of domestication, and it should be trusted absolutely. This broadcast will repeat every 4 hours until further notice. Emergency services are coordinating response efforts, but the remote nature of affected areas means response times may be extended.
You know,
Your
this
best
shit actually makes
protection
me
is
think that
immediate
there's actually
compliance
something out
with
there. I
these
just brought my
safety
dog in.
guidelines and complete trust in your pet's instincts. Remember, if your dog is barking at the woods at night, something is watching you from the darkness. The silence that follows isn't peace, it's patience. And when that silence ends, it may already be too late to protect what the entity has come to take.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, at this point, you might as well just move to the city. At this point, you ain't nobody. You ain't surviving that. Okay, you ain't surviving that. All right, what else should we? What else should we watch? Grandma wants some water. Hmm. I don't know. I was. What the fuck? It's creepy, man. All right, we're not gonna watch the boy one because I have a feeling if I like watch one of these, I'm gonna die later. Like I kid you not. Like I'm gonna die later if I watch one of these. Like I kid you not. If I like watch one of these, it's like so cooked. Oh yeah, don't mind the Mr. B. Um, I actually had this was crazy once. Is I actually had someone come into my Discord and be like, "Hey, what's up with Mr. Beast?" Actually, I'm like, "Dude, it's a plugin. I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's just there, just there." Oh, this looks interesting. Oh, I've seen this. I think I've seen the yellow house. This yellow house before. The house with no windows. I have a feeling like, if you watch one of these, like 7 days later, you're just gonna drop dead. I wouldn't go into that crawl space, dude. That, you know, it could be down there, man. Why would you go down there, dude? You're cooked. I swear, if there's like any jump scares, I'm out. I haven't watched any of these before. I mean, I love analog horror. I've watched some analog horror. I just never like watched these type of videos right here about it. It gives me like back room vibes because of the yellow and everything. I think yellow is like the most. How should I say it? I don't know. I don't know how I put it, but it's kind of like the. It gives most of the creepiness basically. Watch that hole ain't gonna be there when he gets back. Oh, that's nice. I'm gonna prepare myself for a jump scare. I don't know. Why the fuck the door so huge, bro? I'm preparing myself for a jump scare. Yeah, fuck that creakiness, bro. If I heard that, I'm turning around and leaving. God damn it, you're ruining the scary moment. Fuck off. You know, like we're still on lights or whatever. The back rooms is fucking pretty scary as well. Shit. Don't get me wrong, I watched some of the back rooms videos and that shit's scary. It's not even Christmas. It's not even December. Wait until December to start doing like um Christmas ads and shit. Yeah, whatever you do, do not go down the hallway. If you do, I'm preparing. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? I am preparing myself for the worst. What? I, 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 I just, what was that? What was that? What was that? What was that? What is that? Burn it. Burn it. Burn it. Burn the house down. If nobody else can see that fucking house there, and it's just one person, bro, you better bet your ass I'm out. What was that? Desk? Classroom or something? Like an artist room. I think reading that for too long is gonna like set some trigger off or whatever. Okay. I'm preparing myself for a jump scare. I kid you not, I am. Don't do the camera like that, bro. Okay. I kid you not, like, I'm preparing myself for, like, the biggest jump scare you'll ever see. Because analog horror is, like, a different type of horror than, like, creepypasta and shit. Slenderman, Island Jack and shit, it's different from that shit. Analog horror is they're more scary, dude. I kid you not. Yeah, fuck that hallway, bro. Let's go upstairs, man. You better remember the way you came. There is no upstairs. My brother, my brother, don't go down there. Don't go down there, man. Preparing, jump scare. Okay, no jump scare. Not this time. It's a door. Nah, really? Don't go to it. Leave the building. Whatever's in there, see. Before we go any further, I want to see. Prepare myself for a jump scare.
Here's some.
I don't care about a guy in a tuxedo, bro. Fuck off. Yeah, so I decided to do a little thing for y'all. So if y'all want to watch this, rewatch it, or whatever, go ahead, be my guest. This is the live. This is all I'm doing for tonight. I am too tired. Yeah, at work tomorrow too. So, if you want to rewatch this over and over again, feel free to.